Welcome back to the Privacy Impact Shop, where I'm joined, as usual, by my good friend and colleague, Mr. Shaab al-Baghdadi.
Hello.
Was that really enthusiastic for you?
Yeah, I feel like it's a sort of a wake-up call, really.
To do that all day.
Yeah, have you? yeah.
We finally get to do it. How are you?
Shocked from that intro, but yeah,
Other
good.
than that?
Yeah, good. There's a lot going on. Busy as usual.
Tell me about
Just got back from the Netherlands
Okay.
Recently.
that. What were you doing there?
Delivering some training. And do you know what? It's always nice to be doing some training. Reason is, you know what it's like. We're sitting in a position where we're deciding on a strategic position. Mm-hmm. We're delivering consultancy and services to clients, managing a data protection team. That's a lot. So when you get a chance to sort of step away and sort of part some of that, what you've learned on training, it's really nice. And it always it surprises me, the sort of breadth of people that are in there.
Yeah.
CISO, lawyers, HR, more and more audit.
Really?
More and more audit people, seem to be coming into data protection to get that formal qualification.
As in like internal audit or?
No, sort of external, sort of people that generally,
Auditors.
Sort of ISO 27001, very strong background, auditing, now coming in, sort of looking at 27701, compliance requirements. Of course, for big, the two letters AI is also a big driver for that sort of thing, which I'm sure we'll touch on.
I'm sure we will.
That was good. And, back here, back to it, looking after things, developing services, delivering, et cetera. And I've got a dog.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay.
Nothing to do with privacy.
No.
Nothing to do with privacy.
What have you got?
We bought it because we needed home protection.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so we needed home
What's
protection.
happened?
People have got to know me.
Right.
No,
The real you.
this hasn't helped. We've home protection dog. It's a cockapoo.
Okay.
We've got a very small home with not a lot to protect.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Right. So
What about you? That's enough about me. I think I've revealed too much of my personal life already. What's happening with you?
Well, no new dog. Got existing dog. She's enough. Very much the same. Like busy. Just trying to think. Over the last few weeks, they all kind of blend into one, don't they? But I've been over in the States. So I spent just under a week in the New York area. Seeing multiple clients over there.
Excellent.
And then, as usual, kind of sort of running up and down the length of the UK, seeing many of our UK customers. So that's always fun.
Yeah. Do you have a fixed abode? You always seem to be sort of moving around.
Yeah, it's on four wheels. I'll just park it wherever I can.
A company motorhome. Yeah.
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
It's more of a transit van with a mattress in the back. But
Play it up, Ben. Play it up.
Times are tough.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, very much so. But no, look, it's good to be out in London today. Some may argue the best city on the planet, others may not, but seems busy. The city seems busy.
Yeah, it's quite buzzy, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So it feels alive, and not necessarily just today, but I've been up here a lot recently over the last couple of weeks, and it just feels very busy. Obviously quieter on Mondays and Fridays, but
sure.
But yeah, without a doubt, things definitely feel alive. So yeah, all good.
I've got something to tell you.
Go on then.
So this is about one of our clients. So one of our large household name clients brought this to our attention. And it's something I wanted to share, and I wanted to get your view from a commercial perspective, because there's definitely commercial aspects to this. So the ICO in 2023 started undertaking, sort of looking at the top 100 visited websites to see how they were managing cookie banner compliance. 2024, they increased that to 200, and now in 2025, they've increased that to 1,000 websites. And these are the top 1,000 websites, and they are sort of, and when we say top 1,000, that means those that are most visited. Okay. So what the ICO doing, and this is part of their online tracking strategy for 2025, they are looking at the top 1,000, seeing if they are, within that in terms of visitations, and then sending them out an assessment in terms of are they meeting regulatory compliance around their sort of, how they're managing cookies. Now, as we know, a lot of website owners and, publishers tend to manage or outsource their cookie compliance to third parties. There's a raft of, cookie tools that manage cookie compliance. Our client, just for full visibility, came out okay. No real problems. Couple of little tweaks, but nothing, major. Just like, do this, do that, but nothing major.
Well done, them.
Well done there.
Gold star.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I want to take a little bit of credit for that myself. I didn't get where I am today by giving other people the credit. Well done, me. But the point of it is, and this is my, from a commercial perspective, Ben, if you are, like, everybody's striving to get more and more visibility on websites, but how does that sort of marry that you are going to get more and more visibility from regulators?
Yeah.
How do you manage that?
Well, as you brought this up, I've just quickly, Google seems like a good place to ask, what are the top 10 most visited websites in the UK over the past 12 months? And it's given me back, funny enough, first place is Google. Google says Google. Currently holds the top spot as the primary search engine for the majority of UK internet users. Second place, what site do you think that is?
No idea.
YouTube.
Oh, that's really interesting, isn't it?
Third?
I'm not going to do well on this quiz.
Come on, it's not a quiz.
I'm not going to do well.
Do you want multiple choice?
Yes, please give me some options.
All right, I will. And they're from the list, so you've just got to guess the order. So this is the third most visited website in the UK over the past 12 months. Wikipedia, Amazon, Facebook, or the BBC.
I'm going to say Amazon.
No.
Oh, of course I'm not.
BBC. BBC are the third most visited site, according to Google, followed by Facebook, Amazon, Reddit, Wikipedia. Google sit in the 8th place, but the co.uk, so obviously the local version.
Okay, that's interesting.
So they sit first and 8th. 9th, this one's interesting.
Blackfoot?
Yeah. How did you know?
The privacy impact shop. Isn't it?
We just DDoS ourselves to get our numbers up. No, ChatGPT. Of course it is.
Yeah. Okay.
10th, Instagram.com. Do people go on the Instagram website or the app, or does on maybe both count?
Probably both. Yeah.
Top 10 most visited websites. So that's the volume. I've got some numbers here actually. Google.com, 3.48 billion visits in May 2025.
That's huge, isn't it?
That's just the UK.
Yeah.
In 1 month.
Yeah.
YouTube, just over 1 billion. BBC, 440 million. Facebook, 376 million. So on and so forth.
And all the conversation about how YouTube is going to overtake sort of mainstream, sort of linear kind of...
well, there's loads out there at the moment. I'm certainly seeing a lot just generally about, there's a lot of people disgruntled about paying a license fee. And, I think with the likes of YouTube and obviously other platforms like that, there's, they're hard to compete with, I think, in comparison. So
just taking, that information there... And thinking about it, if this is part of, the online tracking strategy is so that individuals have transparency and control over how their data is tracked across multiple sites. So just out of that list that you brought up there, how do individuals actually manage that? And how do organisations try to sort of meet that requirement?
I'll tell you what I'm seeing, especially with... like news and media agencies, and I even saw it across the weekend, that if you've come across an article, you click on it, cookie consent banner comes up, and it says specifically says on the one that I saw yesterday was pay for privacy.
Consent and pay. Consent or pay. Yeah.
So consent, you get access to the article, or you pay. So that's obviously one commercial model that's happening out there.
Quite new, but it is becoming more prolific.
Where do you think the regulation stands on that?
So there is guidance from the ICO on consent and pay models.
Okay.
Around the legality of it, or the lawfulness of it, and how it should be applied. So I think this opens up a really big discussion about, for a long time now, we have understood that there is a value in our data. And I think that for Joe Public, we're understanding that. We get that.
Yeah.
And, a lot of the services we have had access to, that we have been able to use, organisations have taken that information. They want that information even more now because of the use of AI and taking that information and building out sort of models for forecasting, prediction, assistance, etc., etc. So, if this is a sort of an exchange of value, there's a value exchange in this, it kind of makes sense to me to say, if you don't want, if you're not going to give me consent to use your data, then you have to pay for a service or don't use it.
Yeah.
That opens up another big question around how do you quantify the value? Because I accept there is a value in your data, Ben. I want to use it. I can monetize it. What is it worth, though? What is that value? And, I don't have all the details. I haven't had a chance to look at it. But there are cases now where they're sort of saying, well, if you're taking data, that's a taxable item and you have to pay for that. There's tax on that. So is your data worth as much as mine? Is mine worth as much as yours? It's, that opens up a whole new kind of taxation industry valuation piece around,
I think it depends,
services.
Doesn't it? It's like anything, I think to value anything, even sort of physical and tangible things, it's always quite subjective, right? What something's worth to one person might not be the same to the next. So I think it's very subjective in terms of valuing and putting valuations on anything. And the same applies here, I would say, in that one company may be much more interested in your data than mine, and vice versa, based on our demographics and our interests.
Sure.
Etc., etc. So I think it varies. I don't think there's a hard and fast answer on that necessarily.
No.
I'm sure companies will try and commercialize it. We already know they're doing that, in the best way that suits them.
Yeah, I mean, but I just think it's it's an interesting topic, really, for an organisation. We talk about, in our sort of, going back to our day-to-day roles, this is what we talk to organisations about when we're talking about ROI, return on investment, of a data protection program. So if I'm going to buy, an application or a piece of hardware, it's very easy to work out that return on investment. I just go, okay, what's it going to cost me? €1,000, £1,000, great. How much is it going to save me? That's my return on investment. I can work that out quite quickly.
Yeah, but I would say that, anything in marketing and advertising, it is quite difficult to measure.
Yeah, I agree.
Value
because
and
how
success.
do you, and this is the question, how do you put a value on data? And this is, something we talk about a lot. Is it the acquisition cost? Is it, how much your competitor would pay? How much it would cost to reproduce it? How much would you pay if you're starting from scratch and buy it all on the open market?
You map it all out, don't you? From acquiring data to obviously processing that data and then getting to the desired outcome that you've gone through that process for. So is it bringing new customers through the door? Is it upselling existing customers? Are we getting more sales and more revenue? And are we more profitable as as an enterprise as a result of doing whatever we're doing at the top of the funnel, if you like? And that's ultimately what it's all about, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
In the commercial world, obviously there are other aspects in political or perhaps religious beliefs where they might have different motives, but certainly from a commercial perspective.
Pounds, shillings and pence.
Yeah, I guess that's what it's all about.
And what about, the rise now of profiling tools in relation to safety applications? And what I mean by this, because you've given us a very clear view there on the value of data and some of the ways in which it can be looked at. How, what is, gold to one person might be silver to another, etc.
Yeah.
But what we're seeing, and this is sort of the use of profiling tools, and there is, again, it's quite topical, there's new guidance out of it. We profiling, we know, it's been around for a long time, it's not new. But profiling tools in order for sort of safety applications. And this is part of the sort of, not really directly, but the Online Safety Act. So organisations that are creating content or, allowing user content to be put on their services, where there's requirements around age verification and things like that, you can use profiling tools. But one of the reasons for this is you can use profiling tools to pick out things like grooming, bullying, terrorism. So those are sort of, the big ticket items, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
But organisations can also use these profiling tools to apply their terms of, using that community service. They can use profiling tools to pick out fraudulent accounts, to prevent perhaps people, if you are, maybe you are addicted to gambling or something like that. And this moves this whole area of profiling into using profiling for safety. So we've got age verification, which sort of sits over there, but using profiling tools to create safety application environment. Now, I guess tangentially from a commercial perspective, that does, if somebody's going to use your service and it might be a sort of risky kind of service, it does present, it allows you to use it with more confidence. What's your view on that? Do you think that, organisations really understand about this idea now of, safety, and working and in a safe environment, which isn't completely GDPR. It's not even the Privacy Electronics Communication Regulation as such. The Online Safety Act is very much around protection.
Yeah. I think, like with anything, whatever something's designed for. So if you've got profiling tooling and companies that provide that as a service and aid with that, then perhaps what that was originally designed for doesn't always necessarily mean that that's what it will be intended for in the future. And I think with most things that, they'll be abused or used for different purposes. So that's always the case. There's probably a good example with the insurance space. And I'll never forget a conversation I had with a big insurer many years ago. And they said to me, something along the lines of 50% of your car insurance quote is based on the information you provide us. The other 50% is coming from here, there and everywhere. So it might be information that they're already storing on you, or perhaps they are, we know they are. They're profiling, from a number of different sources to understand what risk you pose to them as a customer, for them to obviously provide you with insurance, and they want to cost that as accurately as possible. So that's a good example. And this has been going on for many, many, many years. And most people, I don't think, realise that when you fill in your car insurance renewal form online or however you do it, it's, your quote presented is not purely based on just the information that you give them. The insurers will, or the underwriters will absolutely be profiling you to provide what they deem as to be an accurate quote. So there's that, I think, to kind of sort of home in on as a good example of where I suppose it works quite well for certainly on the insurer side. Now, as a consumer, Are people aware of it? Largely, I'd say no. Is it a problem? What do you think?
So I think it becomes a problem when... So you've got two issues here. I think you've got a compliance requirement where you can say we can operate within the bounds of what the law allows us to do, what a regulation allows us to do. And then you've got the expectation element. So what is the expectation of people who are subject to the outcome?
Yeah.
So I think statistically, left-handed people tend to die younger than right-handed people.
Well, are you left or right? You're sitting opposite end of the table. Hold on. You're right. No, you're just waving at me.
Yeah, I'm just trying to live longer. Covering my options.
Ambidextrous.
Yeah, I'm not doing jazz hands, by the way. But would it be fair to say, I mean, there's no causality between the two, by the way, it's just a statistical fact.
Yeah.
Would it be fair to say, well, look, you're left-handed, you will, potentially present a higher risk. Should we charge you more or charge right-handed people less? Now, you might say, based on the conversation you've just, we've entered into about 50% is on the data you provide and 50% is on data that is, available, scraped, observed, built up, whatever, derived. Would it be fair, or would it be the expectation of people that are going for life insurance to go, why am I being penalised because I'm left-handed?
Yeah. Well, I think you could argue that for a lot of things. There's lots of
100% you could
factors that influence how much or perhaps how little you are charged, through insurance, given that's the context we're talking in here.
Yeah, so. I mean, it could be an insurance underwriter goes, we don't want to insure left-handed people.
Yeah.
Now, my point is, whether that's acceptable, not acceptable, and this is when you sort of said, does it present a risk to consumers? It's the expectation. Does it meet their expectations? And you might go, well, do I care if it meets their expectations or not? Well, that's when you get consumer flight. That's when you get people not adopting your service. That's when it can really start to hit your reputation. So it could be the fact you're not doing anything unlawful, but is it what you would expect in the context of that relationship?
Yeah, I think obviously we're talking insurance here, but if you try and sort of, put this conversation into the context of other industries and verticals, it takes you off in quite different directions.
This could be a huge conversation. Political profiling, legal, identification of potential gang membership, propensity to commit crime, etc. There's lots of areas where, perhaps we don't sit in that world day to day in what we do, but we certainly cover it and, touch on it.
Yeah, without a doubt. Very good. I was actually just going back to the cookie compliance. While I was talking there, I've looked up that. Interestingly enough, it's on the ICO's website that they state that. Obviously, as you mentioned, they've increased the scope of the number of websites up to 1,000. The first 200, 134 were found to be with issues. 67%. It's quite high, no?
Yeah, but not unsurprising.
No, not at all. But I think it goes to show that obviously shop window, quite literally, certainly for retailers.
Definitely.
It's a very easy win for them, isn't it, to start, for the ICO, for them to start to say, well, this is the visible stuff. We can see this, and it's probably quite easy. Well, not probably. It is quite easy for them to, providing they've got the time and the resources to sit down and, no, not at all. But I think it goes to show that obviously shop window, quite literally, certainly for retailers.
Definitely.
It's a very easy win for them, isn't it, to start, for the ICO, for them to start to say, well, this is the visible stuff. We can see this, and it's probably quite easy. Well, not probably. It is quite easy for them to, providing they've got the time and the resources to sit down and...
Well, you can digitise that.
Yeah.
So you think about it. What, the process is pick out the top 1,000, Send them a questionnaire. Got to be answered in 4 weeks. An assessment. A few questions on there. Is there equity of, service between consent and not consenting? Do all your URLs managed within that you manage meet the requirement? Have you registered with the ICO, and if not, why not? So it's quite easy to pick out from those any sort of, let's say, gross negligent failures. It doesn't need a lot. It doesn't need an investigator as such. Just analysis of the answers.
I've seen something before now, actually, around how many .co.uk registered domains are registered to non-UK companies.
Yeah.
So I wonder, I don't know how many of those would fit in the top 1,000 visited sites, but more broadly, how many non-UK owned entities are registered as the owners of .co.uk domains, and how the ICO will actually deal with that, if at all.
That's going to be a tricky one. I mean, look, I think, these are going to be, let's get a bit of context, I think, maybe here. Top 1,000 visited website means they're going to be, mainly commercially attractive. They're going to be generating income.
We've seen the top 10.
Yeah.
Should we do the other 909?
Yeah. We've got a bit of time to kill.
What a filler.
Don't say we've never got anything interesting to say.
Number 700.
Yeah. And then this week's countdown. But they're there to create, commercial, generate cash, money, their enterprise.
Yeah. Now,
if we, and I don't have the figures in front of me, but if you took the first 500, let's say, currently define that, if it all went really badly wrong, big red button, complete abuse, it's 500,000. Under the Privacy Electronic Communication Regulation, which covers the use of tracking, online tracking, i.e. cookies.
Yeah.
So it's 500,000. The top few the top 10 you sort of picked out there, if I said you're going to pay 500,000, do you think they'd be losing much sleep over that?
No, absolutely not. Not a single one of them.
Exactly. But under the Data Use and Access Bill, which has come in, the fine now for abuses of a Privacy Electronic Communication Regulation will be going up to 17.5 million, or 4%, whichever is higher, in line with the General Data Protection Regulation.
Yeah.
That's something to stand up and think about.
Yeah. Well, without going off onto another topic, I think news around the UK government's request to have backdoors into WhatsApp, for example.
Yeah.
And they're like, absolutely not. No, we're not doing that. So I do wonder whether these big corporations will take much more firm stance in areas like this moving forward, because it doesn't suit their business model. So they'll go, okay, fair enough. See you later.
It could do. And this comes back, sort of looping it back to this idea of consent or pay. Yeah. It brings us right back to that.
It does. Yeah,
it all sort of ties back into...
Yeah, give us your data or pay for our content.
Exactly.
Take your pick.
Exactly. And to be honest, the US market's always been very honest about that. That's kind of, the US has always been, the assumed position is, you agree, we will use your data, we're going to monetize it, we're going to sell it, we're going to make money out of it. That's why you get this.
Yeah.
And, obviously there are changes in legislation, I won't go into them, but that's kind of changing a little bit, but that's still the fundamental assumption around the use of data in the US. Europe, we've taken a more fundamental rights of freedom approach, and maybe we're seeing now this, not friction, I wouldn't say that, but where the commercialization of your data, and where we come up against these ideas of fundamental rights of freedoms and privacy, does that actually still work? So it'd be an interesting time moving forward, I think, to see how organisations use that. And will consumers be willing to go, no, I don't want you to use my data. Okay, Mrs. It's going to cost you, £5 a month or whatever.
What would you do?
Depends.
Yeah.
I think it depends on, again, looping back to where we sort of started this conversation. How much is my data worth?
Yeah.
I'd like to know that.
Well, I suppose if you reverse that, let's just say you are looking to read an article.
Yeah.
And it asks you to consent or pay, then as a user or as a consumer of that content, let's say, the value to you is you either get it for free or you've got to presumably pay for a subscription to a...
So let's say I pay for a subscription.
£5 a month.
£5 a month. Is that the value of my data then, £60 a year? Well, that's what they're saying. They're saying we give you, I mean, without going into perceived value, actual value and all of that, but they're actually saying we will give you access to this if if we can use your data. If not, it's going to cost you £60 a year.
Yeah.
So my data to that organisation is £60 a year. Across how many websites would that happen? So do I just accumulate that? So over the course of a year, if I have to pay for every service that I will not allow my data to be used, and that comes to 5,000, 1,000, 10,000 a year, whatever it may be. Is that the value of my data now? My data? Shall we get the tax authority on the line and ask them?
No. That will be a long podcast. They'll keep us on hold for... It might give me time to get through the other 990.
Yeah, okay.
So look, we have unfortunately run out of time, so we'll wrap up there. And,
we haven't finished the list of all the websites yet.
No, we'll do that on the next one.
Okay. I bet. Don't forget to tune into that one.
But look, that just leaves us to say, as always, thank you very much for joining our wonderful podcast. We do enjoy putting these out there and hearing all of your positive feedback. Do like, share, comment, and we'll very much look forward to seeing you on the next one, where we'll be joined by a very special guest who I'll look very much forward to introducing. So do join us. Thank you very much, and we'll see you again. Take care.
Goodbye. Look after yourselves.